Alright good people, this sexy looking fella right here in front of me is the Lenovo Legion 7, and following in the footsteps of the Legion Pro 7i, an excellent choice if performance is what you care about the most, the Legion Pro 5 bridging the gap between the mid-range and the flagship models with a very good RTX 5070 Ti config, and the Legion 5, our go-to recommendation if you want the most bang for the buck. This sleek 16-incher is a combination of all models, and I gotta tell you, it's simply awesome. It is by far not the cheapest laptop you can get with this hardware combination, but the careful balance of performance, an amazing screen, a ton of ports and a high quality chassis, well, let's just say you get exactly what you pay for and then some. And I was finally able to get my hands on the white model after asking for a review sample ever since I saw the predecessor at CES 2024 for the first time. Sounds good so far? Any downsides? To be honest, a few, but depending on what you are looking for, they might not really bother you. But as always, let's start at the beginning and let me walk you through everything the Legion 7 got to offer step by step. Let's do this. Our sample of one of the arguably best looking laptops of 2025 bets on Intel's mid-range Arrow Lake Core Ultra 7 255HX, Nvidia's RTX 5060 running at its maximum rated TGP of 115 watts, 32 gigs of RAM and a 1TB SSD. Thanks to the Arrow Lake HX platform, you have two SODIMMs at your disposal for future RAM upgrades, and if you run out of space for your favorite games, there's a second NVMe slot. On the display side, you can feast your eyes on a 165Hz OLED panel with an upgrade option for 240Hz being available as well. As is rather typical for Legion laptops, you will not find a lot to complain about the sleek 16-incher in regards to build quality. There's just a tiny bit of flex in the keyboard area, but you really have to force it here, and overall the aluminium chassis feels and looks the part to make the Legion a premium competitor for the Zephyrus G16 or the Razer Blade 16 for example. The hinges are well adjusted, and despite the slightly thicker chassis compared to other thin and light options, the Legion still comes in below 2 kg, making it a solid choice when needing proper gaming prowess while being out and about. And while I would totally understand if white laptops are not your cup of tea, man, I think this puppy looks simply amazing, especially with the brushed aluminum edges around the base and the otherwise completely white finish. Contrary to the Legion Pro 5 and the Pro 7, which moved all the ports to the sides, the 6-incher here is staying true to its Legion heritage and leaves at least the HDMI and the power connector in the back, while the left side houses a USB-A 3.2 Gen 1, the headphone combo port and a pair of USB-Cs, one being a Thunderbolt 4, the other a 3.2 Gen 2. On the right you get a physical webcam switch, the second USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 and a full-size SD card reader with very snappy transfers. And speaking of snappy transfers, Wi-Fi speeds are decent without breaking any records, while the 5-megapixel webcam delivers surprisingly decent results for a gaming-focused laptop. I talked about the Legion, or well, the Lenovo heritage already, and once again the keyboard is simply amazing, with great tactility, satisfying feedback and a very spacious layout despite the added full-size numpad. The trackpad is well sized and feels slightly better than what we have seen on the Legion 5 or Pro 5 models, but the Yoga Pro 9 or the all-new 18-inch Legion 9 offer a lot more of a premium feel in this regard. And I got those two in the studio as well, so please make sure to hit that subscribe button, you definitely do not want to miss those reviews. Alright, display. The Legion 7 is also making the transition to OLED exclusively, which I am personally very fine with, but if you are sensitive towards PWM flickering or would prefer a matte option, you unfortunately will have to look at competing laptops. But back to this one. The 165Hz panel can offer a little over 480 nits of average brightness in SDR and about 860 nits peak in HDR, which are slightly higher numbers than we have been able to measure on both the G16 and the Blade. And combined with almost 100% for sRGB, Display P3 and Adobe RGB, super snappy response times and higher than usual PWM frequency, you should hardly find a lot to complain about with this panel. I would personally wish for better factory calibration, especially given that Lenovo markets this towards creators as well, but thankfully you can improve up on our initial results tremendously with manual calibration. As always, you can download our profile from the website should you lack the required hardware. The X-Rite Color Manager is back once more as well, so should you need additional presets like sRGB for color correcting web images or maybe even Rec 709 for grading your video footage, the sleek white 16-incher has got you covered. In the performance department, the Core Ultra is quite the interesting choice, considering the equally thinner light competition is rather betting on the regular Arrow Lake H or AMD's Strix Point offerings. The clear advantage of the higher wattage architecture though, consisting of 8 performance and 12 efficiency cores, is definitely raw CPU grunt, and the Legion easily beats other laptops with a similar footprint in our performance rating. But it also consumes up to 165 watts peak and around 100 watts consistently in CPU-only workloads. So it will be very interesting what that means for battery life, temperatures and fan noise. But more about that in a little bit. On the GPU side, the RTX 5060 maxes out with around 105 watts under load, which is not quite what it's rated for, but in the real world, especially in games, it should hardly make a real difference. In Firestrike and Timespy, the Legion 7 performs quite well against other 5060 equipped laptops, and if you would rather go for the 5070 variant, you should expect about a 10 to 15% increase in overall performance. Interestingly enough, the faster Intel HX CPU does not really seem to offer a significant advantage here, at least not in Firestrike, which is usually a bit more CPU bound, but seems to favor AMD slightly, as is shown by the very good results from the Legion 5 for example. This changes slightly in our 1080p gaming rating, a collection of both older and newer titles, and the Legion 7 can consistently outperform similarly equipped laptops, betting on the same GPU, while the 5070 Ti, tested for example in the Legion Pro 5, is quite a bit ahead. Nevertheless, the 5060 performs quite well in the display's native resolution as well, even though you would be much better off dropping things to Full HD if you want to take advantage of the higher refresh rate in faster games. These are all the games we tested in Full HD and QHD, and as you can see, you will mostly get by with a very decent experience, even though very VRAM hungry games like Monster Hunter Wilds or Indiana Jones will ask for some additional tuning in the form of reduced settings for a playable experience. If you do have some video memory headroom though, you can always fine-tune your experience with the different quality levels for DLSS and frame generation. So you can, for example, boost your average native FPS quite significantly in Battlefield 6, and just with DLSS alone in its performance mode, which still looks quite decent, you can get past 100 FPS easily. Just be mindful of that VRAM usage, and while FPS might look fine in the beginning, we had some degrading performance after several benchmark runs, so I ended up with a combination of high settings and Full HD and DLSS balanced. And even utilizing FrameGen was also quite fine, but your mileage may vary here depending on how sensitive you are to any additional latency. I mentioned it previously as well, but the faster Core Ultra CPU asked for some additional cooling to keep temperatures in check, which unfortunately results in very audible fans, especially in the Legion's performance mode. If you want to get even more in-depth when it comes to internal or external temperatures or the Legion's stress test behavior, please head on over to our written review on the website. We have a lot more data for this one. Which leaves us with battery life, and unfortunately, not being able to be competitive away from the wall is also a Legion tradition, and the sleek 16-incher not even manages 5 hours in our Wi-Fi test, which is quite a bummer, especially for such an easily portable machine. And given that we have seen other Arrow Lake HX powered laptops being able to reach 8 or 9 hours in the same test, I think it's less a question of CPU architecture, but rather Lenovo's tuning here, and I really hope they can improve in this regard in 2026. But that shall be it for today and the Lenovo Legion 7. So what are we thinking? Well, the 16-incher gets a bit louder than I would like and severely limits the time you can spend away from any outlets. But that's actually it. If you can live with these trade-offs, you get a very good looking laptop with a premium build, amazing keyboard, gorgeous display and a more than solid port arrangement. All of this is backed up by above average performance results both on the CPU and GPU side, and while you do pay for the experience, I would not consider this one being priced as outrageously as other options with a similar overall package. And if you want to save a few bucks, you can always opt for the slightly smaller Legion 5. So if you are looking for a premium gaming and creator machine and do not mind something that looks a little bit extra, then you should definitely keep the Legion 7 on your shortlist. As always, I'm very eager to read what you think about this one, so sound off in the comments below. If you cannot get enough of tech and laptops or need a refresher for the other Legion laptops we tested this year already, then feel free to look around and make sure to leave your sub so you won't miss our Yoga Pro 9 and Legion 9 reviews coming soon. A like is, of course, always appreciated as well. And with that, all that's left for me today is to thank you all for watching. My name is Alex, you have been fantastic, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Take care.